In 1989, the AIGA asked me to make the annual cover for their annual awards show. And at that time, the annual was called Graphic Design USA. And when they asked me to do the cover, they said there was no design fee, but they had $1,000 for expenses. And I asked what expenses were, and they said, well, that would be typesetting or hiring an illustrator if I needed one, or retouching or photography or whatever I needed to make the cover. And I said, well, what if I don't have any expenses? Do I get to keep the $1,000? And they said, well, yeah, I guess if you don't have any expenses, you can keep the $1,000. So my goal in doing the AIGA cover in 1989 was to make a cover where I had no expenses so I could keep the $1,000. So that meant I had to make the cover by hand by myself and not pay anybody for anything. So I decided what I would do is take the title of it literally, and the title was Graphic Design USA. So on the front of the cover, I painted an eye, and in the eye was sort of the opinion of all the graphic designers in the world, what drove them and motivated them, which was love, power, money, and boredom. And then outside the eyeball was a listing of every state in the United States and the percentage of people who used Helvetica. Then I had to do the back cover, and I needed to put something on the back cover because I wasn't going to hire anybody to do anything. And I thought, well, I'll make a map of the United States, and I'll list every state, you know, all these people who use Helvetica. And then I thought, well, I'll just paint it from memory. I don't know why I decided to do this. I didn't use any reference at all. And then I inadvertently left out Utah, and it was sort of floating on the bottom of the cover. I painted the cover with designer gouache on illustration board. I think it was chipboard. And I liked it. It had a sort of a very beautiful glow to it, and I liked my handwriting in doing this thing. And I found a little way of expressing myself, and I probably never would have done this thing except for I was just merely trying to keep the $1,000. So after I made the cover, and people seemed to like the cover, it even won awards, I thought, you know, I think I'll make little paintings like this. So for a period of time, I made small little paintings that were like the AIGA cover, and there were a couple of them I did where people asked for them as illustrations, and I realized I didn't really want to do them as illustrations because they took too much time, and also because people then would ask me to correct mistakes, and I didn't want to have to correct any mistakes. Then I was up at the summer house in the middle of a very, very cold winter, and Seymour, my husband, sits in his attic and makes paintings all the time, and I would find myself waiting for him to finish his work with really nobody to talk to up here and not terribly much to do. So I decided, well, I wonder what those little silly map paintings would look like if they were really big. I bet it would take a really long time. That would fill a day. So I painted one big, and it took about 4 months, and I liked it. So then I painted another one big, and then I became obsessed by it. And it happened completely accidentally just because I was trying to keep $1,000. When I began painting the maps, I really never thought anybody would ever see them. And a friend of mine named Jeff Scher had a gallery and recommended me to the gallery, and the gallery had an exhibit, and the paintings sold, and we made more paintings, and they produced prints, and the prints sold. And then suddenly there was a little mini business in this form of painting. And that was actually bad for the painting because I began getting commissions and the expectation that I would do what I'd already done. And it made me not like what I was doing because I wasn't evolving it or growing it. I was doing the same thing I had already done. When people commission you to do something, they usually have an expectation. It's going to look sort of like something else they saw before that you had done. So what I need to do is go off and rethink these paintings and figure out how I evolve them and move them into something new. One commission that I do like, I'm doing for the City of New York, which is a 1% for the Arts Commission for Metropolitan High School that's being built in Woodhaven in Queens. And what I like about this commission is that the paintings do evolve, not in the form of painting, but because they actually inhabit three-dimensional space and don't exist as flat things on walls. It actually changes the form of them, and I am excited about that, because if I can take something I've done and realize it in a new way, I always get a kick out of that. It's the same as when I moved from flat print graphics to environmental graphics. I have the same pleasure in it.